Hello, Bison Band. Today we're going to talk about identifying key signatures in bass clef. So this is for students who play tuba or trombone or bass clef baritone. Now, a key signature is a way that a composer can tell musicians to use a certain collection of notes. And we're going to talk about what that looks like today for students who might not have used key signatures very often before. Make sure that you read the instructions before you begin every activity, and especially here where it tells us the rules that we're going to be following for identifying our key signatures today. The answers that you need are in your instructions. For example, if we see a key signature with one flat, I'll show you what that looks like. That's going to be called our key of F. One sharp, we're going to call that our key of G, and I'll explain that rule today. Or no sharps or flats, we're going to call that the key of C. Remember, this is very important to have a correct answer here. In addition to the letter, you are also going to need to use the word natural as a part of your answer. I will show you how to do that with all of these. So that's an important thing that you need to pay attention to as you complete this today. If you complete your activity under these guidelines, it will end automatically, and you can submit your results after that. So let's start the quiz and take a look. For this, the first key signature that I see, there are no signs in it. So I see no sharp signs, I see no flat signs. All I see here is our bass clef, and that's not a sharp or a flat sign. That just tells us that we are using bass clef notes. So for this, if I have no sharps or flat signs in my key signature, this is called the key of C, and I remember that from reading my instructions. The first thing that I have to do, also from my instructions, is select the word natural. I know that that's part of the right answer because it turns green. Then I go over, and again, because this is the key of C, I'm going to either hit the number 1 to answer that for the hotkey, or click on the button with my cursor. Now, this is a sharp sign, and a sharp sign tells us to play a slightly higher version of the note that it affects. And how do I know what note it affects? The line or space that goes through the middle of this sharp sign, looks like a hashtag, is the note that it affects. And I remember from my bass clef staff that this fourth line is an F. So this sharp sign affects the note F. Now the rule for sharp key signatures is I take the letter that the sharp sign affects, and it's the furthest to the right sharp sign that I will use for this. Because there's only one sharp sign here, I have to use this one. I have an F that this sharp sign affects. I take it up my musical alphabet by one letter. F goes to G. Now my first step is to select natural, and then I select G. Remember that having one sharp sign in your key signature, being the key of G, was also written in our instructions. Now this sign here is our flat sign. And a flat sign looks like a pointy-bottomed B and tells us to play a slightly lower version of that note. Bass clef instruments should be very familiar with the note B flat already. Now, this note here, and we can tell again that knowing our bass clef staff, my second line of my bass clef staff is a B. So this note affects B. Now, I'm not going to get into the rule for bass clef flat key signatures yet because this one doesn't follow that rule. We just have to remember that if there is one flat in our key signature, it is the key of F. That's also in your instructions. So I go to natural, and I select F to answer this question. And then I continue using the key of C, like here, F if it's a flat sign, G if it's a sharp sign, identifying my key signatures. If you need additional help past this video, please visit my office hours or send me an email.